What's up, everybody? Thank you for coming back to the channel, all you lovers of freedom. Today, we're going to talk about why Jehovah's Witnesses fear apostates. Now, I know, based off the last video you probably watched, that I wasn't raised Jehovah's Witness, so what do I know? But you'd actually be surprised because even though I wasn't a part of your cult, I was a part of a Korean doomsday cult known as the Whimsicog, and you'd be shocked to see how similar they are. And one of the ways that they are actually extremely similar is how, just like Jehovah's Witnesses, Whimsicog, they're also terrified of apostates. They are terrified of dissenters, those who have free thinking minds, especially when they have a mouth like mine and a platform like mine. Because Jehovah's Witnesses and Whimsicog members, they are allergic to facts, reason, and truth. So let's check out why Jehovah's Witnesses and Whimsicog hate apostates and they're terrified of them. Let's go. So for those who maybe aren't familiar with Jehovah's Witness jargon or Whimsicog jargon, first off, apostate is Jehovah's Witness, slanderer is Whimsicog. And they're the exact same people. Basically, they're dissenters who have a different belief now, who profess a different belief, and who call out the lies, hypocrisy, deception, and manipulation of their organization, such as Jehovah's Witnesses, such as the World Mission Society Church of God, etc. So that is the definition of apostate. Or slander. So what is the big deal? Well, apostates in Jehovah's Witnesses' eyes, they're not just people who disagree. They're portrayed as spiritually dangerous, as satanic, as basically they are possessed by the devil or they're demonic or whatever the case is. And members are told, definitely do not listen to them, don't talk to them, don't even look at them, don't even think about talking or looking at them, right? That's the kind of control that they have because a cult can only cult if both sides of the narrative are controlled. So how do you control somebody who is outside the organization who can't be controlled? You just control even more those that are already under your control. Does that make sense? And how do we do that? By labeling information as dangerous or poisonous. In the Whimsicog, I was taught that looking online and seeing negative reviews or seeing negative facts or history, anything negative of my organization, this Korean doomsday cult, was eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and I was going to die if I did, because if I looked online and saw all the atrocities and all the deception and all the crap I was being fed, naturally, yeah, I'm going to leave that organization. Jehovah's Witnesses have a similar experience where they're forbidden from looking online. They're forbidden from being critical of the church and using their own rational thoughts. It's extremely dangerous. And those that do, they are spiritually sick. They are spiritually dying. And if they leave, of course, they're spiritually dead because a fish can't live without water, can it? But the hardest challenge for us apostates or slanderers, whatever you want to call us, is trying to convince the other side, the cult members, that leaving is not death. In fact, it's actually, I would say, life and even rebirth. And how do we tell the people inside when they're presented with facts and truth and history that disrupts the narrative, when they want to thought stop and just keep pushing the narrative even though they know they have no leg to stand on, but it's more comfortable? How do we talk to somebody like that and get them to use their rationale and leave the organization? And it makes it especially hard when that organization labels us as evil, labels us as betrayers, as something that is just in and of itself negative. The very thought and essence of us is negative and evil and bad. This is where it gets so hard to be able to talk to members inside these control groups, whether it be Whimsicog or Jehovah's Witnesses. It's just as hard, trust me. And because of these control tactics, these groups have such a hold on their members. The governing body is seen as God's organization on the earth, and only through them and only through their understanding and knowledge and interpretation of Scripture can the Jehovah's Witness body even have hope to be saved, right? And they paint people outside the organization, especially those who leave the belief, as just deceived, as insane, as cruel, as evil, as demon possessed. The list goes on and on with ad hominem attacks because, again, protecting the narrative, protecting the echo chamber is the most important role of the governing body. That is what is so hard because as soon as a WMSCOG member or a Jehovah's Witness member hears a survivor story, and they can see that life is better on the other side, they can see the grass actually indeed is greener in this case on the other side, leaving becomes astronomically more possible. And that is what terrifies the Jehovah's Witness organization. Here's why the governing body is absolutely terrified of their members watching survival stories, because then they'll see doubt is a normal process in the human experience. It's normal and actually a healthy faith because doubt makes you seek for truth. And if you're in the truth, it's going to make you active because you're going to come back to the truth because of that doubt. But cults, once you doubt and you research, you're not coming back to them because you research. That's the key difference there, and that is what the governing body is terrified of. Another reason why the governing body doesn't want you watching survivor stories is because you can see, as a Jehovah's Witness, if you're in the cult, you can see that life outside of the organization is astronomically better. It's better than you could have ever even dreamed was possible. And that is probably what terrifies the governing body the most. And how does the governing body counteract what we're trying to do as far as getting people out of these organizations? They use control through fear, right? Armageddon is just upon us, right? Work harder. God's almost coming. You don't know the day or the hour. Though it linger, wait for it. Right? Keep working, keep working, keep working. Don't even look to the left or to the right. Just keep going. Do what we say. Because they know as soon as you slow down, the bicycle effect is going to happen. You're going to slow down, you're going to wobble, and eventually you're going to fall and wake up. That's why they keep you busy. That's why you're constantly preaching, knocking on doors. I mean, I did that for 10 years myself. I remember standing outside gated communities that had codes to get in on the door. You know what I'm talking about? And waiting for somebody to walk in and pretend like I live there. And I would hold the door open and say, thank you. And then I would call my buddies in the car and another 6, 7 of us would go into that apartment complex to preach. That's how busy we were. We were going out constantly to Walmarts, to Targets, to wherever the case was that we were sent to preach to everyone and anyone. Because when you're busy, you don't think. You're trying to survive just to get through the day because of how busy you are. So I know exactly how these organizations work. They use fear to control because any day, God's coming, right? Who are you? What are you doing? Are you worthy? Are you ready? Etc. And on top of that, that allows you to work more and work harder and think less because now it's not the time to think. The governing body's done the thinking for you. You just do. See how that works? So if I leave you with one thing, whether it be the governing body or God the Mother in South Korea, according to WMSCOG, the thing that they fear the most is they don't fear slanderers, they don't fear apostates because they lie. They fear them because they expose the lie. They tell the truth. And that is what terrifies them the most because they can handle a lie. But what these organizations can't handle is the truth. So that's it for this one. I appreciate you watching this video with me and spending this time with me. On the screen, you're going to see a playlist of WMSCOG survivor stories, the Korean doomsday cult that I was a part of. So check those out. Also, there's going to be a recommended video, and we'll catch you on the next one. I hope you guys have a great day.